So, and Amber, you're going to have to tell people how old you were when we met because you have a better memory than I do. I'm getting old. You're still young. Okay. Amber Towne, Geehan, Senior Sales Director. She and her awesome husband, Joe, currently live in Phoenix, Arizona. They have moved a little bit around. They have four kids ranging from 24 to 16. Her previous occupation was a college student. Is that an occupation? I don't know, but that is. But anyways, she began her career 27 years ago in 1997, has been a sales director for 24 of those years. She has earned 15 cars in her Mary Kay career. And in 2020, she and her unit did over $1 million in sales in one calendar year. Oh my gosh. Well, we always say that they haven't, the highest check that I'm going to tell you right now that she has earned is not her highest check that has been written, but the one that they have paid her so far. Are you ready? How many of you could get excited if you opened your account online and saw $54,000 in your account for 1 month? Who could get excited about 54,000? Whose husband could get excited about 54,000? Who would forget to tell them it's a total of 54,000? Okay, so see all of that stuff. Me on all those notes, okay? So we are super excited to hear from Amber. I am so excited for you to hear from her tonight. So Amber, I'm going to turn it over to you. And yes, but you did tell them how long we known each other. I don't know, but I'll turn this over to you. You go for it, girl.
I guess I heard about you since I was 3. So my mom and you met when I was 3 years old. So you know what? I think the biggest gift you could ever give a child is being raised in a Mary Kay home. Whether they choose to do Mary Kay or not, it is a gift to watch your mom succeed and fail in the home. But most importantly to me, where I learned the most was watching my mom fail. And what she did after that failure. And so, if you are a mom or a grandma, you have such an influence on the next generation. And it's such a passion for me to raise up strong, passionate women that are confident in their skin to lead this next generation, whether it is grandma influencing them or it is mom. But yes, I did meet Janice for the first time. I literally kind of thought she walked on water when I first met her because my mom was earning her first pink Cadillac. So if we're going to track it back to that, I was either in first or second grade, and I traveled to California to see my grandmother, who had made a decision to do Mary Kay and was a brand new sales director as well. And Janice had a pink Cadillac, and I remember going to meet Janice for lunch. I remember going into the parking lot and her shutting the trunk. You know, when you are a little kid and your mom drives a yellow B10 Datsun, that we had to gain momentum to go up the hills and our skin stuck to that fake leather in the summer. When I saw Janice's car and it's the little things that I get excited about. She shut the trunk and she didn't shut it. She just set it down and it grabbed it and it pulled it down. I was like, oh, is so fancy, like so fancy. And I remember, like, if you could imagine, like, I have you guys on gallery view because I don't like staring at myself. But how many of you guys have had children? Like, you have children or you've had children? I took my mom when she earned her first pink Cadillac to show and tell in second grade. I didn't take a toy. I took my mom and her pink car, and my whole entire class went in and out of her car. I think that day I became her favorite child. Just kidding. She did recruit my teacher though. So with that, my life has been littered with. I kind of wrote some things down because I feel like my life is an I story in Mary Kay to share because I could share from behind the scenes because I saw this company behind the curtains. I saw this company in the raw flesh of having a Mary Kay training center in my home, growing up hearing the Mary Kay women in my home to going on to college and being on a scholarship for volleyball and fast pitch and having my dad come to me and say, call me and ask me if he took me to dinner, would I listen to him because he felt like I was wasting my life. Remind you, I'm on a scholarship. So it wasn't like it was costing them a ton for me to be there. Housing, yes, but I was doing my fair share of performing on the athletic field. And he came and being a auto technician by trade, he saw Mary Kay from behind the scenes and he felt like his daughter was wasting her life. And so he sat down and he broke down the company marketing plan to me because skincare and cosmetics did not intrigue me. I was a complete tomboy jock that still carried a man's wallet in my back pocket. And so I didn't even own a purse. And so when he gave me the facts, he's like, what could really be the worst thing that could happen? I'm like, well, I end up like being like mom, because when you're 18, you don't want to be like your mom, right? Who's looking at the through me in the window right now. And so when she's here visiting and buying a house. So when you're 18, now I'm grateful to be like my mom, right? With all the freedom, flexibility. So my life has been littered with faith, freedom, flexibility, and finances is really what I want to share with you guys. So that day I made a decision. I made a decision financially. The reason was that I had $50 in my checking account and I didn't have any money. I sat next to my friends at Red Robin and I ate their French fries because they could get extras because I couldn't afford to get a burger. That kind of how you eat as a college student. So when I first started Mary Kay, that was the extra money. It was like, well, what if? And what if I could get that confidence I saw in those other women? Because you see, I did my grocery shopping at night. I wouldn't write checks in public. And I did bank deposits through a machine and not a teller because I was so, so shy. I lived in North Seattle and I would rehearse my coffee order so that I didn't feel like I had a speech impediment when I talked to them. And so it was not like it was in my, although I was raised in a Mary Kay home, the Mary Kay, doing Mary Kay and working with people was not natural to me at all. And so when I was 18, that's what I joined for, was that extra money. And little did I know, 6 months later, I would hand my scholarship back and do Mary Kay full time for the rest of my life. And I didn't realize that day when I was 18 years old that I was walking into what was my dream job because I had a passion and I was studying exercise physiology to help women feel better about themselves. Little did I know that it was going to come from a platform of a skincare and cosmetic company and to help them be more powerful moms, to be more confident wives. Because when you have a more confident woman, she changes lives in the community, not just in her home, but in the community. But when we aren't walking in our secure, powerful self, we're not helping anybody because we're hiding in a world where we feel like there's this giant on the inside that wants to come out, but we're not letting it out because we're shy. And the last time I checked, there is not a 5-year-old girl that can look me square in the eyes and say, Amber, when I grow up, I want to be shy. No, none of us had that desire, but someone was mean to us in junior high. And we took those insecurities that they laid on us and we kept them. Those mean girls in junior high, and we kept them. And yet my dad said to me, the only place that you can grow confidence is in a comfortable place to fail. And that was Mary Kay, a comfortable place to fail. Also, I said to him, I said, Dad, I am so shy. And see, even though I've spoken in front of 10,000 people now today, even just talking to you guys today, you guys can see my neck gets blotchy because it means I want to do a good job. But I used to think it was because I was so scared. And I realize it now is just, I tell people it's a blotchy monster. It's going to come out of my shirt. It's going to come on my neck and really just means I want to do a good job. But when I first started Mary Kay, I thought this thing was going to smother me because I was so shy. And when I said to him, Dad, I'm not like mom. I'm so shy. And he says, whatever you are today, you'll pass on 2 and 3 times to your own children. Do you want them to be paralyzed with something you're uncomfortable with today? And I was like, well, geez, that's kind of mean. And I'm like, that was kind of mean, Dad. And he goes, it wasn't meant to be nice. It was meant to have a reality check. Is you cannot teach what you do not have and more is caught in the home than is ever taught. And so that day I made a decision for my future kids that I did not have because I was 18 and I wasn't even in a relationship and he was being mean like that. And so, then I become a sales director at 20 years old. I earned my first pink Cadillac at 21. But P.S., I did say I would never drive a pink Cadillac and never wear a big gaudy diamond ring from Mary Kay. And I do all of that today. You could put polka dots on my car and I wouldn't care. And you could make even a bigger ring and I would still pick it and wear it because I think the only reason I didn't like them is because I didn't have a diamond to my name. And so every diamond was bigger than 0 diamonds, correct? And so when then I got into my 20s, 20s to 27, I ended up getting married and I was a bonus mom. I ended up raising 2 other children that weren't mine, 27 years old. I had my first child and that gave me the flexibility to be mom. And so when I say faith, freedom, flexibility, and finances, I believe your flexibility of life demand finances because being a stay-at-home mom doesn't, it's not cheap. It's not cheap in this world today. Just go look at the cost of eggs right now. It is not cheap. And so I think I almost gave away my firstborn child to get some eggs the other day, but I did it and purchased them and I financed them. No, I didn't finance my eggs, but I thought about you should finance eggs today. But anyway, so that gave me the flexibility to purchase homes before children and then my first home. So I did purchase my first home when I was 19 years old and doing Mary Kay full time and on my own single sole support of myself and my fat cat. And then I ended up getting married at 20 and inheriting two bonus children and being able to be a bonus mom there. And I say that because that freedom and flexibility changed when I inherited two kids. And then at 27, bringing my children in, and they got to come home in a pink Cadillac. And to me, having the flexibility to walk through postpartum depression with my first child, and to have the flexibility to heal, and all of those things. Then when my kids were 3 and 6, I left that marriage with $3 in my back pocket and hope for a future for my kids. And I say this because I'm very for marriage, but because of the flexibility and freedom and my faith and finances, it gave me the ability to get out of an abusive relationship that I was in for 12 years. And I say that because it cost me $350,000 to protect me and my children, that I was able to pay 100% with all of my Mary Kay finances. And my Mary Kay girlfriends, I belonged to an amazing church. Ladies, I did. But the culture of Mary Kay is something that you will get nowhere else. It wasn't my church friends that showed up, moving me, protecting me, feeding me sometimes. It was my Mary Kay girlfriends. They really held me when I felt like I couldn't stand. In some of the darkest times of my life, in my gratitude journal, I would write, I was grateful that I was above ground and breathing, because it was such a dark time in my life. It was a hard decision. It was a difficult decision, and it was a very expensive decision to protect my children and I. And that day, and many days after, I got many calls from Mary Kay Corporate. They didn't make money to call me, but they did. And they didn't call me to see when was I going to be back to work at the level I was. They were there asking, how are you? How are your kids? It wasn't about money to them. It was about the health of my family. And I remember crying when they would ask that question, because I could hold it together. But when you ask, how are my kids? That was something that rattled me to my core. So freedom, flexibility, finances, and faith meant something so different then. Is when I brought all of my appointments into my home. I did not shell out my kids to become $1 million sales director. They worked right by my side. They opened the door. They greeted people. They took their food. They gave out tickets. They did it all, because when the team works, the dream works. And that became our family motto. And then I did move from the Northwest after I got remarried. We moved to Kansas City. I really don't move all over the place, but I kind of do. We moved to Kansas City, and freedom and flexibility gave us that freedom to move there and to be able to relocate and to have the finances to purchase the home of our dreams there. And then 5 years ago, right before COVID, we moved to North Phoenix, February of 2020, and we finished our $1 million year in a hybrid mode. And the last 3 months, we were all on Zoom, and we finished our first $1 million year. And so I say this because I don't know where you're at. And I don't know why you're watching. You might be the 18-year-old that's in college that wants the extra money that she can buy the burger and not just eat the fries. That might be it. Or you might want to buy a pitcher of beer, whatever that finances would be for you there. You might be that single person that's looking and wanting to and desiring to purchase their first home. But goodness gracious, it's a little bit more expensive today, isn't it, to live on your own? And you might be that person that is that new mom that is maybe inherited more kids than she expected. And you are the flop house, and you need that freedom and flexibility to be a mom. And this last year, I just turned in one, I think my 14th Cadillac, and picked up my 15th. And I turned in that Cadillac with 60,000 miles on it. And I say that because freedom, flexibility, faith, and finances meant something different in the last 2 years, because my son races competitive motocross, and I hooked a race trailer up to that pink Cadillac, and it went anywhere from Southern California for 2 or 3 weeks to Oklahoma to Tennessee to Colorado. We trained everywhere. If you saw a pink Cadillac with a race trailer, it was me. I worked at a track. I worked dusty. I worked dirty. I worked in a hotel. I worked in my car. I worked in the race trailer. I worked in a toy hauler. I worked at friends' houses that would house us as we were traveling and training. And the freedom and flexibility allowed me to be able to be there and be present in such a precious time with my son. And then he ended up qualifying in the top 20 in the nation at the largest amateur motocross race that you have to be at. It's like the Super Bowl of motocross is the best way to explain it for anyone that doesn't understand Loretta Lynn's. And so, but I say that because I turned in a car with 60,000 miles on it, and I was hoping that no lights came on before I wheeled that thing in, because I'm like, don't check, no engine lights, no anything. And they just gave me a new one. They didn't penalize me for putting 64,000 miles on that car. They didn't say, what were you doing? And I'm like, just take it before it falls apart because I think might need some service at this point. But your freedom and flexibility might be something totally different. You might be needing to take care of parents. My grandmother and grandfather lived next to me or just down the road from me for the 2 years that they had left before they both passed. And when they got moved into hospice and assisted living, it was me that got to be there because of freedom, flexibility, faith, and finances that Mary Kay gives you. So I don't know what that looks like for you, but the one thing I'm certain of is I've never seen a company show up and impress me for 46 years of my life. They have never disappointed me. And when I watch them and when the curtain is drawn on Mary Kay corporate, you're impressed in who they are. And I think in the last 5 years, we are a little surprised of some corporate companies and who they really are when the curtain is drawn. And I love that I represent a company that stands up for women, that stands up for freedom for women and abused children, that stands up for women and investigating all different ways of curing cancer that affect women, but also gives the platform and influence to be able to provide for yourself financially. And I think that is one of the biggest gifts because when you have enough finances, you can be a blessing to others. But when you're only caring about your freedom and flexibility and surviving till the next paycheck, then we have a hard time serving others. And so, no, it's not all about finances, but finances. When that $54,600 check hit my account, my husband said, is there a reason why Mary Kate just deposited $54,000? I'm like, is there a reason why you're questioning it? He goes, nope, I'm good. I'm good. Because you see, I had visualized it for 4 years. I had visualized it for 4 years. Because when I joined Mary Kay, I heard the highest commission check at that time when I was 18 years old was $54,000. Now I think it's $154,000. So I thought, I can't see 154 yet, but I can see 54. So I had visualized it on my visualization cards for 4 years. So I knew that would hit my checking account one day. But are you surrounded with women that challenge you to visualize a $54,000 commission check? Because I am. And there is room at my table. I would say there is room at the table for people that want to achieve and win, and we will share our visualization with you because somebody did, I could. And maybe that is what you need to hear tonight. Maybe it's because you do, somebody can. And that was a decision I made when I was 18 years old that changed my family's life forever. And I love this company with every fiber of my being because of the freedom, the faith, the flexibility, and the finances. But that's a little bit about me, even though Janice has known me since I was 3.
Oh my gosh, Amber, what amazing story you have. And I forgot that you were that young. That makes me feel super old right about now, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. You never know what happens. See, I was driving a pink Cadillac and she wasn't even in school. Oh my God. And just think every day there's little girls growing up. So can we give a big, huge round of applause for Amber and your story? Thank you. It was amazing. I am going to stop the recording so that we